Welcome back, and in this segment we will be looking into the 6th National Youth Conference, which will kick off between the 28th and the 29th of July at Cairo University, and a lot of youth, around 3,000 youth, are expected to be attending, in addition of course to representatives from the various Egyptian political party members. And as my colleague Ahmed mentioned at the beginning of the episode, that actually the initiative, as the president is part or will be part of the sessions of this important youth gathering, where they will be meeting with the Egyptian high officials as well as His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. And the initiative itself was opened or started on the president's personal Facebook page, starting from July 14th, and will continue till the 24th of, or continued, or actually because it ended the 24th of July, so that the president would answer the various questions asked by the Egyptians and the youth. And today, to speak about their participation in this important event, I have with me Mr. Mohamed Gamal. He's the General Secretary of the Specialized Committees and member of the Higher Authority at Future of a Nation Party, to talk about his party's participation and the importance of such an important conference. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So Mohamed, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. If we can start by asking about the venue of the 6th edition of the Youth Conference. It will be held at Cairo University on Saturday and Sunday. What is the importance of choosing such a venue, and of course to be dedicating the conference to the university students?
At first, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about this important event. At first, we have to focus on a very important point, that Egypt, the population of Egypt we are exceeding now more than 105 million people. We got more than 60% the percentage of youth here in Egypt. So the importance that you are talking about a very huge number of youth for a nation. And for the past 2 years, we've been talking or following about a very important thing, which the new scale of politics. The president is talking directly to the youth. Real conversation, direct questions. There is no limits in these questions. The conversation is directly. So we are talking about a very important event. In any nation, the youth is a very important point to achieve progress, to achieve development. And the Egyptian youth, almost they are got a percentage of genius youth, not a normal youth. I've been following a magazine, an international magazine, been talking about the most effective youth all over the world. They were been talking about the 25 character. 8 from them is Egyptian. So the Egyptian youth, if we are talking about progress, we are talking about the future, we are talking about the development, we have to always have a direct conversation, a clear transparency in between the president or the presidential institution, the government, and the youth. Also, the unique ideas that the Egyptian youth is providing the president to negotiate or to have these ideas to be discussed with the government, the committees that have been discussing the prisoners, and too many issues I've been seeing. I've been following all these events, and one of these events is the Egyptian was giving a lesson to the youth all over the world, which was the conference, the international conference which happened from 6 months ago. So it's a very important point. We are talking also about how we can let our youth be more qualified. We all see the PLP, the program of the presidential institution, and how they make the interviews, and they used to pick up a certain type of the Egyptian youth that they are highly qualified to be also qualified to hand over certain positions in the government. So we are talking about a different scale of politics. We are talking about a real conversation, not a political conversation. We are talking about a very important event. We are talking about also, I decide that this conference or these events, it will be almost like the past conversation or the past political events, but we see that in the end of every conference we used to hear from the president that he got his own remarks and he take steps upon he heard from the. So we are talking about a very important part or a very important event in our future, at least.
Now, for your party, how many members are going to be participating, and what have you prepared for it? Like, are you going to participate, just attend, or are you going to do take part in sessions with the youth to raise the awareness about their political participation?
This upcoming event is got a special point or a special line that we are talking about the use of the university. So we are talking about the students mainly. Our party is mainly the party that got sign of the youth. We are now exceeding about 500,000 members. We are talking about more than 65% from them is youth. We are preparing ourselves to the next coming local elections. So what we are focusing that if we are talking about the Egyptian youth, we had too many different ages. We are talking about the law or our constitution is defining the Egyptian youth that they are beginning from 18 or 20 till 35. So we are talking about the students, we are talking about the fresh graduated, we are talking about the youth that they are working in different fields, in different sectors. So this upcoming event, this upcoming conference got a main line. The main line we are talking about the students of the college or the students of the university. Also, I think they got some kind of more unique ideas, more maybe they can send for us very different kind of questions.
Yes, speaking about the ideas of the youth, about 3,000 young men and women will be participating in the upcoming conference. What do you think the main topics will be tackled during the conference?
Let me tell you honestly, the Egyptian youth always make for us surprises in the kind of questions. So the last conference we used to hear the questions, maybe it looks like similar. What I'm expecting here, when you try to see the kind of question that have been putting on the link of Ask the President on the social media. So you see different kinds. You see some kind of focusing of the increasing of the prices. What about the coming 2 years? What is the expectations of the economic analysis for the side of the government? What we are waiting for the law of the elections of the local positions. So I think for my expectations, my personal expectations, I think it would be different question, different performance for the Egyptian youth, because we are talking about the students of the university. Also we are talking about the picky or how can I choose the Egyptian youth or the kind of the Egyptian youth they're attending. Number one, how they are clever, how they are achieving positions in their education. Also, the performance in the general work of the parties in the activities. This is also some kinds of points or elements that make the evaluation of picking the person or the student who will attend this conference. So I'm expecting a different kind of question, different kind of performance. This is I'm expecting.
Now, one of the topics that is expected to be discussed is education, since it's going to be in a grand educational institution. And this year, part of the president's program when he swore in at the parliament was that education will be one of the key issues of reform for this term. So how can we really work together on improving the educational system, because education is not just about the books and the text, but it's an attitude in life, the way even we at home treat our youngsters when it comes to school or university. So what's expected? What do we need in that field?
Of course, this is a very important point, and the most, I think, in my opinion, the most big problem that we are facing here in our nation. I remember when Dr. Mahathir Mohamed, he was visiting Egypt from about 5 years ago, and I asked him a direct question. I told him, if you can tell me how you make this transfer for your nation in 4 or 5 words, what shall you say? He told me that I found my people reached to a very low level or a very high level of poverty, which I should invest in education. Mm-hmm. So you know how different the poverty and the education. Mm-hmm. So the education is related in every sector in any nation. Mm-hmm. Of course, we got too many problems. We got the increasing of the number of the students. We less the number of the schools. But what I'm expecting that we will have a different scale of finalizing these problems. We are talking about having the support of Japan for the about more than 200 school with a different scale of education. I think this point or this part of or the file of the education, the problem of education in Egypt, as the president said before, it's a very accumulating problem. So if we begin now, or we start to begin in 2018, we're expecting to have the results within not less than 10 years. But we have, or we should start now.
So it's more of an investment in the future.
Yes.
So why do you think that President Abdel Fattah Hassi great importance and great attention to the youth of Egypt in the past 5 years, and of course in the upcoming 4 years as well?
Of course, in my point of view, President Fattah Sisi, he got a very special relation in between himself and the Egyptian youth. And if you've been watching, he used to tell the youth that I feel satisfied when I stay with you and hear you and talk with you, because I think the most transparency relation, the most clear relation is not with politics, is not with the responsible people. No, it's with the youth. We have to be confirming on this. So and for the kind of this of the president Abdel Fattah Sisi, because he know quite well, and he got his awareness about the importance of being or putting the Egyptian youth in the place of responsibility, in the place of awareness, and what really Egypt is facing. It's very important point to let him go in his scale of performance as the president. I mean here that the President Fattah Sisi, he don't want to walk, he want to jump, and the support or the sector or the social sector that important to achieve this is the youth, not the older people. they will give. They got the power. They got the ideas. They can give the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, if they get aware with all the points. I think the performance of the Egyptian youth will be supporting the scale of the work, or the scale of the targets that the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is putting.
Now, apart or away from this particular youth conference, since we have you, I'm very curious about the role of the youth in the political movement in Egypt, and the role of the political parties as well, because although there are now calls for the increase of the political participation and the effectiveness of the political parties, but still we don't feel that there are real work for the political parties on the scene, and even when we look at various events, we don't find them present. So how can we enhance the role of the political party, especially that you've mentioned that your members, you have around almost 500,000 members in your political party?
Yes, we didn't reach this number. I'm talking about 500 or 600. We are talking about 65% from the youth. For my point of view, or my opinion here, that if we are talking about parties, it's the same like we are talking about the problem of the education. The parties or the politics in Egypt got a bad history with the citizen. Let me talk honestly. We are talking about the third or the fourth or the fifth years of beginning a new political life. So if you are talking about a performance that you are expecting, it shouldn't be logic that you found a performance of the parties that they are competing, they give ideas. We got a very difficult, and we do a very difficult effort to let or to attract certainly the youth to pretend or to go in or have a role in the parties. So if you are talking or expecting, also you have to put in your mind that we got now in Egypt more than 104 parties, and the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi asked and begged the people, why we are talking about 104 parties? We are talking about the freedom attitudes, so we are leave whatever the groups, whatever they need, go and make your party. But you have to give the people, give the citizen something. But we have always 5 or 6 person or groups, very small groups, make a party, and they don't have in mind how they can focus on the space that we can share in between the parties and each other. So I think I'm expecting, if you want to see the good performance of the parties, it's double responsibilities. It's a responsibility in between the citizen, and it's a responsibility between the commands of the parties.
So it's the entire nation's responsibility. I'd like to thank you very much, Mr. Mohamed Gamal, the General Secretary of Specialized Committees and member of the Higher Authority of Future of a Nation Party. Thank you very much for this interview. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you.
Well, now we will be going to a quick break, but we'll be back for more on Nile Cruise, so stay with us.